In the autumn of 1843, the valleys and ridges of northern Alabama still held many secrets unknown to white settlers. The rough land of the Cumberland Plateau, filled with thick forests and deep ravines, became both a refuge and a trap for one man, whose name would later be spoken with fear and wonder. This is the story of Samuel Green, a man who escaped slavery and became something far more frightening to those who once claimed to own him. The earliest written record of Samuel Green appears in documents from the Johnson Plantation, located about 20 miles northeast of Huntsville in the Tennessee Valley region. William Johnson, a wealthy landowner who moved from Georgia to Alabama in the 1820s, enslaved more than 40 people. Among them was a young man listed simply as Sam, age 22, field hand. Plantation records kept in the Madison County Historical Society note that Sam was considered troublesome and had already tried to escape twice before turning 23. The Johnson plantation sat near the southern edge of the Cumberland Plateau, where the flat valley suddenly o's into steep forested mountains. To the east, the ridges stood like guards, dangerous but full of opportunity. For anyone thinking of escape, these mountains offered the only real chance. Tennessee to the north still practiced slavery. The Tennessee River to the west was deadly, and going south meant deeper plantation country. On the night of October 11, 1843, during an unusually cold autumn storm, Samuel Green vanished from the Johnson plantation for the third and final time. Unlike his earlier attempts, this escape was carefully planned. The overseer's journal, now stored in the Alabama Department of Archives and History, recorded that Green took a wool blanket, a butcher's knife, and nearly 2 weeks' worth of dried food from the smokehouse. What made this escape unusual was not that he succeeded, but that he did not head north toward free states. Evidence suggests he went deeper into the wild mountains of northeastern Alabama, into land few white settlers dared to enter. The first sign that Green had changed came 3 months later, in January 1844. A hunter named Elijah Thornton told the Jackson County Sheriff that he had seen a black man who looked wild while hunting deer near what is now Guntersville Lake. Thornton's statement, kept in county records, described a man wearing animal skins and carrying a rough spear and knife. Before Thornton could speak to him, the man disappeared into the brush. Over the next months, similar stories came from trappers, hunters, and a few settlers living in remote valleys. Each description was nearly the same: a tall black, with a clear scar on his left cheek, matching Samuel Green's known appearance, dressed in hides and showing incredible skill in the wilderness. At first these sightings caused curiosity, but soon they became frightening. In April 1844, a hunting group led by Thomas Wilkes failed to return to their settlement near present-day Scottsboro. A search party found their camp destroyed, with signs of Violence. 3 men were missing. The only survivor, James Carter, was found hiding inside a hollow tree, badly shaken. Carter's statement to a county magistrate described an attack by a Negro mountain devil who moved silently through the trees and killed with terrifying speed. Officials first dismissed his story as madness, but later events made it harder to ignore. During the summer and fall of 1844, isolated cabins reported thefts. Strangely, only useful items were taken: tools, weapons, cooking gear, clothes. Even more disturbing was that these thefts happened while families slept, with no one hearing a thing. By December, the figure had a name among settlers: the Mountain Devil. Stories spread that this was no ordinary runaway, but a man with near-supernatural abilities, able to move unseen, survive harsh winters, and driven by hatred for slave catchers and hunters. Newspapers like the Huntsville Democrat mocked these stories, but admitted a fugitive seemed to be living wild in the northeastern mountains. The legend might have faded if not for what happened on February 18, 1845. A slave-catching group, led by Jeremiah Burke, a feared bounty hunter, entered the mountains to capture the fugitive. Plantation owners worried that Green's freedom would inspire others. Burke brought 6 men and 4 tracking dogs. According to the only survivor, they followed the dogs into a narrow valley and camped near a stream. Near midnight, the dogs growled, then went silent. What followed was a planned killing. Shadows moved through the trees, and men were taken one by one without a. The survivor, Michael Reynolds, escaped by falling into the creek and being carried away. Reynolds later said that as he clung to a log, he saw a tall figure watching from the bank. "He could have killed me," Reynolds said, "but he let me live so I would tell what happened." After 5 white men were killed, authorities could no longer ignore the situation. In March 1845, Governor Benjamin N. Fitzpatrick approved a militia mission to capture or kill Samuel Green. 40 armed men under Captain William Holtz searched the mountains for 3 weeks. Their journals described chasing a ghost, finding warm fire pits, hidden supplies in caves, and distant figures that vanished. On the 18th day, they found what seemed to be Green's main camp. Built into a cliff and cave, it included den walls and a thatched roof. Inside were rifles, knives, spears, a bow, and arrows. They also found personal items belonging to at least 7 missing men. Most shocking was a journal written by Green himself, made from stolen paper and bound with animal hide. It showed he could read and write well and carried deep anger. He described abuse on the Johnson plantation, punishments after failed capes, and his change in the wilderness. "In these mountains I became what they feared," he wrote. "They showed no mercy, so neither shall I." The journal revealed he was not alone. He mentioned at least 2 other fugitives, calling them brothers in bondage. Together they hunted, gathered, and stole what they needed. The militia searched another week but found nothing. Green had vanished again. After this, reports slowed. Many believed he fled north or died. Then, in January 1846, everything changed. On January 7th, William Johnson was found dead in his locked study. Nothing was stolen. He had a single wound, an arrow through the heart. On his desk lay a note, "Justice comes even to the mighty. Remember Samuel Green." A second, larger expedition was formed. Over 60 armed men, ordered to kill on sight. They left on January 20th, confident winter would expose Green. They returned 2 weeks later, missing 17 men. Survivors told of night attacks, ambushes, false trails, and terror. One group awoke to find 2 men gone and words carved into a tree. "You hunt a man who learned to hunt from watching you. Ma." Jaw Thomas Bradford ordered retreat, writing that they faced not a man, but a phantom who ruled the mountains. For the next year, Green became legend. Warnings appeared carved in trees. Slave catchers refused assignments. Cherokee people spoke of a spirit protecting fugitives. Escapes from plantations increased, and oral history suggests Green helped guide runaways. The last confirmed sighting came in August 1847 near the Alabama-Georgia border. Surveyors met a man who identified himself as Samuel Green. He spoke calmly, confidently, and said he planned to leave Alabama. "I've made these mountains remember me," he said. "Now I seek true freedom." No confirmed records follow. Some say he went north, perhaps to Canada. Others say he died in the wild, but his legend lived on. Formerly N. Enslaved people remembered him as hope. Masters feared him as punishment. Plantation records show reduced brutality near the mountains. During the Civil War, Union soldiers heard stories of the Black Phantom of the Hills. Oral histories from the 1930s recorded elders calling him the Shadow Man, Mountain Samuel, or simply the Free One. One woman recalled her mother saying, "Cruel masters should beware, for the mountain man was watching." Later letters suggest a man named Samuel reached Pennsylvania and planned to go to Canada, carrying a leather-bound journal and scars of both slavery and survival. Whether he lived long or died quietly, Samuel Green changed the balance of fear. He turned wilderness into power and proved that control could be broken. The mountains remain, crossed by roads and trails, but in some deep valleys, the story is still told. Samuel Green, the enslaved man who became the most feared mountain man in the South, lives on as a symbol of resistance, survival, and the cost of freedom.